Hey guys, my name is Brenda, and I am 13 years old. Today, I have finally found the courage to share the most mysterious and enigmatic story of my life. Have you ever had any really weird things happen to you? Like things you could not quite explain? So it all started when my family moved to a small town in Tennessee. I was very excited about going to this much praised school and to start all over in a new place. It seemed like nothing could go wrong, but it actually did. My classmates were very nice. They showed me around and I became acquainted with everyone, except Aiden. He was horrifying. He was silent and distant, and he just gave me a quick look, but it made me feel really uncomfortable. I asked my new friends about him, and they told me he was just a weirdo. Nobody got along with him, and that wasn't unusual. They also said that he collected strange things and never let anyone touch the bag where he kept all his stuff. To tell the truth, I used to be really into any kind of mysticism at that time, so I got really intrigued. And then my classmates had a reckless idea. They wanted to steal Aiden's bag and look to see what was in there. That was the plan. They were supposed to distract him, and I had to grab his bag. And that's what we did, but it didn't work out properly. Aiden noticed me taking the bag and became furious. He screamed, yelled, and even cursed me. I got so scared that I ran away as fast as I could. I was running without looking back, but heard him cry out something like, "You're going to regret this!" And soon afterward, everyone was looking at the contents of the bag with an unnatural interest and horror. There were things like rocks, feathers, dry branches, and even dead birds and the remains of dead cats. I was mortified and kept my distance. I was sure that Aiden would not stand for this. But nothing bad happened the next day or the day after, so I thought the story was over, but no such luck. One day, there was a knock at our door. It was some strange woman. She said she was our neighbor and came to just say hi to the new tenants. She even brought a cake. So my mom went to the kitchen to grab plates, and I stayed with this woman all alone. She was frightening and attractive at the same time. She was staring at me and then suddenly asked me if I could get her a glass of water. But when I came back with the glass, the room was empty. The woman was gone. My mom came back with tea and cake and asked me what had happened, but I didn't know what to say. We were both very surprised. What urgent business could have made our guest leave without saying goodbye? Then I looked at the chair where she was sitting and saw a book. I opened it and couldn't believe my own eyes. It was a spell book or something. There were a lot of strange pictures and symbols in it. I took it and snuck into my room. It was absolutely fantastic. I spent hours looking through that book, and then I found a folded note in between the pages. It said, "If you want to know more, just let me know." I was dying of curiosity. The woman told us where she lived, but I didn't have the courage to just go to her house. Then, the next Sunday morning, when I was leaving for the supermarket, I saw the woman standing on the corner. I guess I didn't realize what I was actually doing, but I went up to her with my legs shaking and breathed out, "I want to know more." She smiled at me and told me to meet her at a small shed in the nearby woods. Of course, I didn't say anything to my mom about what I was doing. She never appreciated my interests in the mystic. But all this was far too intriguing to resist. I went to the shed at the appointed time, and the woman was waiting for me. It seemed I had entered into a witch's house. The shed was full of cauldrons, jars with some weird stuff, dream catchers, and other curious items. This woman started to tell me stories and explain the meanings of the pictures and symbols in the book she had left for me. I just couldn't stop listening to her. It was as if I had been hypnotized. She told me that I had a gift and that I was the chosen one. She also warned that I had to value all of this knowledge and to keep it a secret. And I went back there again and again. I even started skipping school because I was much more interested in my magic lessons. Once, my mysterious teacher told me we were going to learn to make special amulets. She told me that if I did everything right, they would protect my family. That was so exciting! After we made the amulets, I had to bring them home and hide them in the furthest corners of our house. So I did, and the results came quickly. I started noticing that my family was facing little unpleasant fails, like every single day, one thing after another. My mom would burn my dad's breakfast every morning. My dad's boots came apart when he was late for work. I opened a door and broke the handle. One night, I woke up because I heard some weird noise. My mom and dad were shouting and running around the house. They both seemed very worried. I was about to get out of bed to check what was going on, but I felt my feet touch water. The floor was completely covered with water. Our house was flooded. It turned out that a pipe had burst. That was suspicious. I told my teacher about what was happening. I asked her why the amulets didn't work. She seemed confused, but said that things were going the way they had to go. And our troubles continued. Once, when I was having my morning breakfast before school, my mom went outside to take out the trash, but suddenly she slipped and fell from the stairs. She hurt her leg pretty bad. I called my dad, who had left for work much earlier, and he rushed back home. I tried to help my mom and to close up her wound, but I couldn't manage to find any bandages. I decided to go and ask the neighbors for help. I knocked on so many doors, but it seemed like everybody had disappeared into the ground. So I was running alone down the street when I realized I was passing by my spellcaster's house. I went up to her house and saw her in the yard. I was about to call out to her when suddenly I saw Aiden. He was coming out of the door with his backpack, and I was sure I heard, "Goodbye, Mom." I was terrified and stunned. Mom? This woman was Aiden's mom. The very Aiden who promised I was going to regret what I had done. I've never had the slightest idea that he even lived on my street. But it all made sense now. I realized that I was the one to blame for what had happened. When I went back home, I was absolutely desperate. But there was a new development. Mom had been waiting for Dad for a really long time by then, but he never showed up and we couldn't reach him by phone. We got really worried when suddenly my mom got a call. My dad had gotten into a car accident. He was not injured badly, but he had to stay in the hospital for a while. I couldn't let all these awful things happen anymore. I had to fix it. I threw all of the amulets away. I looked under every chair and cupboard to make sure I had taken all of them out. And suddenly I found something horrible under our bookcase. There was a symbol drawn with a piece of chalk and a disgusting clump of dark hair. I had no doubt whose hair it was. Aiden's mom must have put it there when I went into the kitchen to get her some water. My heart sank. I cleaned all of this stuff out of the whole house and threw the book away as well. Well, believe it or not, nothing bad has happened since. I never told my parents about Aiden and his mom and our lessons. I bet they would never believe me anyway. I don't even actually believe that it all happened myself. I wish it was all a gigantic coincidence or a bad joke. But to be honest, I don't know. Has anything like this ever happened to you? Did you manage to find logical reasons for what happened? You can share your stories in the comments. unless you're too afraid.